Great to see everyone. I'm Dr. Kyle Peacock, and this is a workshop that is near and dear to my heart, the Love My Guts workshop. And this is reason why it's because it's one of my favorite topics to talk about is because it is one of the sole reasons that I became a chiropractor in the first place. My story was that I had inflammatory bowel syndrome, inflammatory bowel disease, and I went through the gamut of just trying different foods, and I thought for a while that it was Mexican food that was causing it, and then it was stress, and then it was anxiety, and the reality is no one got to the cause of my problems. And to be blunt, especially in middle school and early high school, it's not a popular topic to talk about your bowel movements and diarrhea, and that was happening 4 or 5 times a week, and it'd be between 10 and 30 minutes at a time where I would just disappear. And it's embarrassing to go over to a friend's house and hang out, and then to be that guy that destroyed the bathroom, and everyone knows it's you, right? So you can't run away from that, and that it piles further on the stress. And some of you guys can relate to where I'm at. But my point is, it wasn't until I went to a chiropractor for an unrelated football back injury, and where modern medicine, MRIs, X-rays looked at my X-ray, which was crooked and hips and twisted, and they said it was normal. And so we just knew at 16 years old, I was told it might be arthritis. And notice that might be arthritis. That might be causing your pain. And so for the chiropractor to not only work with me, identify the cause, and correct my problem that was causing my pain, and then for me to also, as a bonus, completely unrelated in my mind, was that all of a sudden my bowel issues went away. And it took me 2 weeks of realizing that. And guys, my solution at the time was, because I couldn't figure out what was setting it off, I would take those little chewable Imodium tablets, and that I had those, in my locker at school. I had them at home. I had them in my car in case you're on the road. And I just didn't want to be caught prepared. And I knew, I mean, just like many of you guys can attest that, that is not fixing the cause of the problem. That is only addressing the symptom. But when you have nothing else, that's all I knew. And I wasn't going to be that guy, like I said, to continually destroy your friend's bathroom. So when that chiropractor not only fixed the cause and found it and addressed it and removed the interference and removed the subluxation of my spine, and my spine was straighter, it had less stress on my nerves, so my pain went away. And once I understood that, I asked him, does that also help with digestion? And he told me those same nerves that were causing my back pain led out to the lower GI tract, and no wonder I was having dysfunction there. And my mind was like, I thought chiropractors were just for back pain. And the reality is, so many people are connected to what's causing their issues. And this is what we're going to talk about tonight. Now, today, this is where I hope and pray everyone has a cool story like mine, where man, this is bigger than just popping backs. But the reality is, sometimes it takes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps to move towards a better state of gut health. And that's what we're going to jump into today. So give me one moment as I switch over here, so that way you guys can see all the information we have for you today. Now, I'm also going to be diving into this stuff, guys. It is not just feel good, the natural way. I mean, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but especially in this last year, 2 years, boy, natural methods and wellness practices and vitality focus has been under attack, censored, even just disreputed, say it's not science. And today, I hope you see it. I'm going to add the science to it today. I'm going to walk you through where we're heading and how we're also not addressing causes. I'm not here to pick fights. I'm just here to say this. My mission, and once again, this is our office, this is my team's mission, is we're here to help as many families as possible get back in control of their health, back in the driver's seat of knowing what's causing their problems, and to help as many people as possible. And we're here to be that beacon of hope, of health and healing, so that they realize that the greatest healer is actually inside themselves. When you work with what God gave you, when you use all the parts and pieces the way it's supposed to be used, it's amazing what type of system we live in and we run. So this is where, once again, why has the gut affected this? But this is where, once again, where we're at in America is, are we healthy? And of course, no one ever tells me yes anymore. I mean, everyone's like, no, America's not healthy. I mean, it's not hard to convince. But guys, 74%, right? 74% of America is having GI issues, gastrointestinal issues, bloating, abdominal pain, and diarrhea. That's 3/4 of our nation are dealing with these issues. I looked it up, and Harvard said that 1 million gallbladder surgeries occur every year. Another resource said 800,000, but either way, that's a lot of gallbladder surgeries. And then Harvard went on to say that 80% of those that had a gallbladder attack received surgery right then and there. And that's where it's just like, guys, I'm not here to judge. I'm not here to call out whether you have or do not have your gallbladder. I'm just here to say that's not okay. This ship is heading in the wrong direction. And even having my mom, my sister, who've addressed these gallbladder attacks, no emphasis was focused on cause. They didn't really get into. They just said, "Whoop, looks bad. Let's cut it out." Right? And they tried. I mean, they really tried. But the point is, they felt just unequipped to handle what was a seemingly an impossible fight, and the only option was surgery. And so part of my goal today is not just to help people with gallbladder issues or diabetes or really just people with IBS like myself, or Crohn's, or ulcerative colitis, or any of the multitude of GI issues and autoimmune disorders. My purpose here today is not to be the chiropractor that solves all of those conditions or issues. That is I would fail. That is not my purpose here today. The purpose is to connect you with your next step on what it's going to take to improve your state of health and well-being. I'm going to say that again. Today's purpose is to connect you with your next step on your health journey, on achieving a better state of health and function and well-being, right? So this is where, once again, we can see where America's heading. We're moving in a horrible direction, but this is where we've got to get real with ourselves and know that wide is the path that leads to destruction, right? And this is where we've got to choose a different one. All right. And this is where, once again, moving over here, and this is where, once again, some of you guys know this already, like Hippocrates is quoted, given quote with saying, all disease begin in the gut. He actually said, let food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food. But this is where, once again, this guy, I mean, hundreds of years ago, is making these claims. And this is where, once again, if we talk about this stuff, I mean, this is some pretty heavy stuff. Autoimmune diseases, once again, cancer, mood disorders, infertility and pregnancy, allergies, asthma, and sensitivities. I mean, like, this is a big list of nasties. And they're telling me that this is related to the gut. And this is where, once again, I want to ask yourself, this gets a little real, and I want to go there because if you're like me and have family members that have some of these issues, autoimmune conditions and cancer, and you haven't asked the question of what caused that problem, that's tough. Because the reality is, did they really get to the cause of the problem, or were they just focused on the lump or the bump tumor? Did they really just get to the cause, or did they move to quickly dumb down my immune system so it stopped attacking myself? And this is where we've really lost the idea of cause and symptoms, and we've really just jumped right to the symptom ends of it. And this is where we've got to change this. So today I'm going to be talking about this several times here, and I want you to understand that my purpose with this is to share with you that we, in order to take on these things, you got to start with the basics. You got to start with the end in mind, with really working on the causes. All right. Some you know and some you don't know. But let's like, once again, moving into it and deeper here, we've got to start thinking of this as people look at the digestive tract, right? The digestive system, and I think some people really think it's just it's a tube at the top and then another tube at the end, and the things magically go through there and they transform. It's just really, it's not I encourage you, do not think of it that way. A lot more things go on here. But once again, this is a series of organs that help break down the food you eat and absorb vital nutrients. The key is that it's absorbing those nutrients. And this is where, once again, everything about it is moving food so that you can absorb those nutrients. Now, I'm going to use an analogy throughout this talk, the workshop today, and this is where once again the I want you to picture a car. Cars are so great for human body analogies, but many of you guys know this already. But I'll share you the story. But I learned that gas you store in a container, those little 5-gallon containers. I realized that I should never fill up with 5 gallons ever anymore because my mower just doesn't use that much gas for my little yard. And I learned that gas can go bad. I learned that if you leave gas by itself, it actually turns into kerosene. And so this might be another life lesson, a writer downer for you guys. Don't let gas sit for multiple years. Otherwise, it turns into kerosene, right? So, and then I'll be darned, guys, kerosene, it has quite a different combustion level, and I won't get to the nitty gritty. But the point is, engines were not designed to run off of those kerosene. Molecules are designed to run off of gasoline. And so what I want you to picture is like when you're sitting here thinking about what did you eat today, or what did you eat this week, or what are you planning on eating later tonight? Is this food meant for me? Is this gasoline for my engine? Is this like really whole, actual, natural, God-made food, or is this man-made, science-made food and the fake kerosene where it might combust, it might run your engine okay for a little bit, but long term it's actually creating a lot more gunk buildup, a lot more problems for the engine, and I'll be darned, it does the exact same thing in your body. So for those of you that think McDonald's is a food by God alternative, like, oh, it's hamburger, it's beef, right? Look that up. Or how about Subway, guys? I mean, Subway has just been under attack because and I don't know who did the study or who's looking for the genetic material, but they struggled to find genetic material of tuna in their tuna sub. And once again, I'm sitting here going like, just all cards on the table. I am not a saint. That's the sub I used to get when I used to get Subway. It's a tuna sub, and I'm sitting there going, I don't even know what I was eating. They couldn't find genetic material that pertained to tuna after that. So once again, if you're thinking that's fueling you efficiently, then hang tight because we've got a long night ahead. But the point is, once again, we've got to start thinking differently. Stop looking for the magic bullet to fix the symptom and start really thinking about your body holistically and what is a good vital nutrient that it needs to come from. So once again, we talked about this. The purpose of the gut is to absorb those nutrients. That's a critical system. Just to break it down, proteins have to be broken down into amino acids. Fats are actually broken down into fatty acids and glycerol. Carbohydrates are actually broken down into simple sugars. So this is, once again, the purpose of the digestive tract is this simple statement: absorption of vital nutrients. Now, we can't talk about digestion without talking about the microbiome, because these little guys, these little bacteria, now the microbiome is not just bacteria, but we like to talk about it. It actually contains trillions, so not millions or billions with a B, but trillions with a T of bacteria, viruses, and fungi, all of which can be good or bad, or beneficial or harmful to you. So of those 3 organisms, of the bacteria, viruses, and fungi, bacteria are definitely the most studied and well known. And so this is where the idea is that we have these good bacteria that we want, and they actually help produce enzymes and help digest the foods that we actually struggle to eat and digest. Whereas the harmful bacteria not only impede the absorption of vital nutrients, they actually change your tissue type into a dysfunction state and then into a diseased state. And the imbalance of that microbiome, the gut microbiota, is called dysbiosis. So dysbiosis. In order for the GI tract to perform effectively, it is important to have as many of these good bacteria as possible. And just to put it in perspective, there are about 10 million, or sorry, 10 million times. There are about 10 times as many outside organisms in your, or 10 times as many outside organisms than human cells on your body, inside your body. And so what I mean by that is think about it like we have, everyone kind of estimates how many cells we have in our body, but the kind of halfway point seems to be 37.5 trillion cells. And so they're saying, wow, okay, so we have 10 times as many bacteria and viruses and fungi that are all beneficial to our health. There's 10 times of those. So once again, add a 370 trillion cells. That is I mean, just at some point in time, it's a big number, right? But the thing is, what are we doing to help nurture that. And I think of it like a garden. When you think of it like a garden, um, these good bacteria, this is where, once again, uh, um, what does your garden look like? Are we giving it the proper nutrients? Are we tilling the soil? Are we weeding it? Are we removing the bad and adding only the good? Are we watering it? Are we giving what plants need to survive? Or are we just kind of letting it run ragged? Right? Never look at the garden. Never focus on it. I don't care if I spray it with stuff. I don't care if I put harmful fertilizers down. I don't care if I toxic. So once again, you got to start thinking about these little guys, because there's 10 times of them as there are of you, right? And so this is where the gut brain connection comes into play. So a lot of people, I feel like this has been talked about a lot over the last decade even, but this is where your brain contains about 100 billion with a B neurons. And then this is where your gut contains 500 million with an M neurons. That was news, I feel like, to the scientific community years ago, that there are that many neurons, nerve cells, located in and around the gut. And this is where it's also been called the second brain. The brain controls everything, but the gut has so much it does and has to respond to adapt to its highs and lows, the stressors that we put upon it, that this is where there are so many connections, that's where we have almost a second brain located in and around the GI tract. And this is where, once again, they're connected by neurotransmitters. Like, yes, nerves talk, but neurotransmitters are what's produced by the brain and helps control these emotions and feelings and the function overall. But the creative thing is that your gut also produces neurotransmitters. GABA is one of those, a neurotransmitter produced in the gut, controls feelings of fear in the body, all right, as well as helping pain relief, etc. But the point is, have you ever wondered, like, why did I feel those butterflies? Right? So come on, like, who's, I mean, I know you guys are watching this on YouTube, but like, raise your hand, have that awkward moment where you're the only person watching this and you're raising your hand with me. But like, be active, like, come on, take those steps, take that next step. And have you felt butterflies? Have you felt anxious? Have you felt like, oh my gosh, I'm worried about a test, or I'm worried about a speaking event, or you know what, I just feel like everything's I'm coming to this moment, and then all of a sudden your gut just does an upside down effect like a roller coaster, and you feel those butterflies. This is why, right? Your body is preparing for stressors, and this is where we'll get into a little bit of that later on the nervous system part. But the reality is, your body is designed to enter these highs and lows of stresses, or better yet, fight or flight, and then rest and recoup. And your gut has to play along. Otherwise, you end up in dysfunction, and specifically in the gut, dysbiosis, right? So this is where, once again, we can't talk about gut health without talking about the immunity. And this is where, once again, this goes back to NCBI, but they found that, once again, your immune system and your gut are so interconnected. Over 70% of your immune system lives in your gut. And this is where it's sitting there, ideally, because it's got to prevent invaders and toxins and chemicals and things from entering the bloodstream. So this is meant to be an area. This is like a border patrol here. This is where we have to have the highest level of immune system here, because we're trying to move good things in and keep bad things out. Essentially, that's what it breaks down to. So once again, God in His wisdom and His design, your gut system is designed with this in mind. How do we get these amino acids and quality lipids and fatty acids and glycerols and simple sugars? How do we get those guys? Because we need those. And then, not let alone the micronutrients and the phytonutrients. And how do we get that? But we keep out the bad bacteria, or any bacteria that we don't want growing in the circulatory system, in the blood system, right? Like, how do we do that? And like, I mean, do you think about this for a second? Like, I don't think about this once a day, like, at all. I never once think about, okay, I just ate my apple, all right, and now I've got to focus. Okay, only the food in. Keep all the chemicals, the sprays, the toxins out. And thank God I don't have to do that, because this is where we would be doing nothing all day except focusing on that battle. But once again, our innate intelligence, that system within us that is always seeking to heal and do the right thing and run our body to the fullest of its ability, it knows how to digest food, how to put up a proper defense and keep your immune system strong. My question to you guys is, are we supporting that? Are we helping that? Are we really just making that worse, or are we actually helping and succeeding? by helping that gut system, helping those microbiota, helping the good bacteria, making sure we're focused on that, right? So once again, moving into this right here, we've got to start to learn the causes of interference. So when you look at this slide right here, once again, it's just simple. At some point in time, you got to stop the dominoes from falling into each other, right? And so when we see disease building, that's a perfect sign. So this is where, once again, if you see disease building, and so much of these conditions are linked to gut health, this is where we need to take a look at what's going on. So once again, I've talked about this already, dysbiosis, right? It's equals disruption. That's what it really falls down to. And what they're finding, this is, once again, this is the cool stuff here. In 2016, this was a study that was published, that dysbiosis, or an imbalance of gut bacteria, can cause, this is where disease and dysfunction in the body that now starts to disrupt the function of the GI tract. Essentially, this is where, once again, they found that if you have a higher ratio of gut-friendly bacteria to outnumber those that are harmful, that's where you can your body stays high functioning and symptom free. But this is where, once again, unfortunately, factors like poor diet, high amounts of stress, and environmental toxin exposure. Once again, poor diet, high stress, and environmental toxic exposure. A lot of people's microbiomes were home to billions of dangerous bacteria, fungi, yeast, and pathogens. And this is where what they're looking at now is, if we can identify these healthy bacteria and make sure that these probiotics are in high levels, then we have better outcomes. Another study, once again, this is where just linked to hypertension. They're finding that these patients who've had in the first one, colorectal surgery, that they fared better when they had healthy habits, they really took care of their gut, essentially. If they had these markers that showed proper gut health and good microbiomes, they had better results. Same thing, gut biosis is linked to hypertension. I would argue that hypertension, once again, I feel like hypertension has been broken down to its simple base parts, whereas, it's just, I mean, like, I hate the word just here. It is just a little blood pressure number. No, hypertension is another check engine light saying that your body is not running effectively, and it needs to find the cause of that interference so that you can function and heal at a higher state. So when we see hypertension, that should be a regulator that says, you know what's one thing I can do to control my hypertension? Or let's say the doctor puts you on a blood pressure medication, and that's the only solution. Is there's no other extra steps. It's just, here, take this pill, and this will equal health. And I hope I don't have to be the first one to burst your bubble. Just by covering the problem up does not mean you are healthy, right? Just covering the problem up. Thank God we have some of these scientific advancements and medications for life-saving moments. But that once you've, let's say we take this pill and we've normalized our blood pressure, your main goal now should be, how do I identify the cause, and how do I remove that interference so I can get back to functioning at a healthy and high level, right? And so once again, what these researchers are saying is that the gut biome and dysbiosis, if you have dysbiosis, that's linking itself to that. And so this is where, once again, we've got to address the elephant in the room, which is the allopathic model, which is the traditional medicine, Western medical approach is, when you have an infection, we're going to antibiotic every time. So when you have, this is where I'm gonna get real here, it even hits kids, right? So when that little kiddo has an ear infection, rather than finding the cause of the ear infection, we'll just nuke everything, including the microbiota in the gut, and that will solve the problem. And it drives me up a wall, because this is where, once again, no work was done on identifying the cause. It was only the symptom. And if you've had patients or talk to parents or friends that are like a lot of patients I've seen, we get parents who have done this multiple times, where they've done one round of antibiotics, infection goes away, and then it comes right back. And then they do another round, infection goes away, and it comes right back. And then next thing you know, they're talking about tubes and doing a minor surgery. And I hate the term minor surgery. That is a risk for your child. And once again, nowhere was cause talked about. And so when you're doing multiple rounds of antibiotics, what is that doing for the gut health for you? What is that doing for those good bacteria that are supposed to be there? Well, it's killing, those antibiotics are killing them too, right? And so this is the danger of only looking at symptoms. So once again, if you're that person that has that child or knows someone who has a kid with ear infections, I'm not saying never see your pediatrician. I'm saying also you need to see a chiropractor to check the atlas, the very first bone in the neck, because chances are that bone is misaligned, is subluxated enough that it is impeding the draining ability of that eustachian tube of that ear canal. That's the cause of a lot of these problems. And we start adjusting little kiddos, some that have never once even taken antibiotics, and all of a sudden the ear infection goes away. And get this, it stays away. I've had parents who've had multiple kids who've had multiple tubes and their surgeries fail because they're still not addressing the cause of the problem. They would rather put a hole in God's design, trying to work around it, do a body hack, than address the cause. And most of the time, the adjustment is done with my pinky finger or single finger to just gently move that bone over. And once again, cause versus symptoms. And so this is where, rather than blasting the entire microbiome, right, bomb the city, why don't we get to the cause and start working on yourself, right? Start working on your healthy habits. Don't just say, you know what, I'm not going to change anything about my health habits. I'm just going to take this pill, because that's what leads to more medical interventions later, right? Another study, and this is where, once again, this counters my education going through doctor school and pre-med, is that Helicobacter pylori, this is what has always been linked to stomach ulcers. I mean, that was the test question. If you saw stomach ulcers, you start looking for H. pylori, because that's what's going on. And you better throw an antibiotic on it quick, or it's going to eat away and cause more ulcers. They're finding, this is once again another study that found in 2016 that found that, once again, it's an example of how these type of medications can be destroying the gut. Did you accomplish a mission? Well, it's basically about the same thing as saying, you know what, we know that these people that robbed the store ran into this neighborhood, this 500 home neighborhood. So we're just going to go ahead to catch these bad guys. We're just going to go ahead and napalm the entire neighborhood. Will we get the bad guys? Absolutely. But we killed a lot of other good people in the process. Once again, this is not an idea. It's what caused H. pylori to be in there in the first place. What caused these stomach ulcers? That's what's not being addressed, right? Same thing, just different verse. Maybe talk about this. Talk about back to the gallbladder. What's causing these cholecystitis effects? What's causing my gallbladder to be so inflamed? What can I do to reverse the dysfunction, reverse the process? If you're not asking these questions, right? Once again, I still say, thank God we have these surgeons, some of these medications. When we get in these crisis moments, they can absolutely save your life. And I have nothing but love for my nurses as patients, my doctors as patients, because absolutely you are necessary and required. But I need our system to wake up and realize it's broken. It's not asking the question of what's wrong. It's saying, how can we patch this up so we can keep on doing the exact same things, expecting a different result. Definition of insanity, right? Is saying, you know what, I'm just going to keep doing what I do, and I'm sure it'll get better. No, right? This is where you've got to start looking at what's controlling your inflammation. Inflammation is the root cause of all these diseases and pain. Now, this is where I'm going to flip your script a little bit, because inflammation can be bad and horrible, and then it's also the beginning of all healing processes. I'm going to say that again. We've been taught inflammation is really bad. So yeah, we know it causes associated with diseases and pain. And you think about a lot of like ibuprofen and Aleve is all based on like, how do we crush inflammation? How do we stop it? Right. And so what I want to flip your script on is thinking about this is when you cut your finger even and you look down, you never had to think about it healing. It's just automatically happening. I mean, platelets show up to stop the bleeding immediately. Right. And then next thing you know, all of a sudden you've got new skin there and there's a scab formed. It doesn't look very pretty. And the scab falls off and you've got brand new pink skin. And never once did you think about healing. But in the initial stages, if you really compared before and after pictures of that cut, injured finger, you would notice that the cut, injured finger is not red from blood, but it's red because of inflammation. It actually swole a little. There's a little swelling. There's redness. It's actually got a little heat to it. And if you think about it, like you just damaged the structure. Your body, without you thinking about it, immediately responds by providing the appropriate materials needed to clean up the area, the appropriate immune system factors to prevent infections. I mean, otherwise one little pinprick and we'd all die from a bacterial infection. And there's that. So I want you to picture new materials coming in, micro immune system factors coming in, white blood cells, right? And then also you've got we got to build new cells, so we got to get some more material in, and then we got to get the garbage trucks over here to help remove the cellular waste and the damaged particles, so it can go be recycled and made into new stuff. So what I want you to picture is you've got all this stuff coming into the tissue. Well, what do you expect it to do except balloon up and swell up, right? Like that's exactly what's supposed to happen. Now, I want you to picture yourself that if this injury is happening every day, every day, every day, the same insult, the same cause is happening, well, your body can never catch up, right? And I don't know about you guys, but I don't heal a cut in a day. And this is where the same thing happens in your gut. Is are you allowing the body to heal? Meaning, are you stopping the insult, the cause of the injury, or are you doing this to yourself every day? So once again, when you think about inflammation, that's where I want you to think of. It is your body's response to healing, but it is a sign that something is going wrong and your body is having to heal in the first place, right? And this is where we get into leaky gut. I'm gonna cover this area, because if you look at your gut and you take your entire intestinal lining and you spread it out, it's going to cover a 4,000 square foot area. And so for a lot of you guys, that's bigger than your house. Like think about your house square footage dimensions, and this is bigger. Your gut, your lining inside your gut will be bigger than your house. And when it works properly, it acts as an amazing barrier, helps absorb those nutrients, because once again, the purpose of your gut is to absorb vital nutrients. Now, when you have symptoms of poor gut health, this is what we're talking about, right? It's the sleeping problems. That's what sticks out to me a lot, is how many sleeping problems can be linked to GI dysfunction, skin problems, right? And this is what I'm talking about. Like, once again, your psoriasis. This is your rashes, your things that we're always taught. Oh, maybe it was the soap you used, and it could very well be. It could be the tactile dermatitis. But how many times are we thinking, you know what, that food I ate, or the strawberry I ate, I bet it had a bunch of chemicals on it. I'm willing to bet that this is just another sign that my body is having to heal my gut health, because we can't look at that. We can't see pictures of that, right? And this is where getting into there, like, it's not just fixing your gut to solve these symptoms. It's how do I get my body into a better state of health and wellness? So leaky gut plus inflammation is where we get disease, right? Body's trying to heal, so it's bringing the inflammation intentionally. But because of the leaky gut, this is what's happening. And I want to walk you through what leaky gut is. And this is, I try to find the simplest explanation. So here you go, right? A picture speaks 1,000 words. So the ones on the left, if you look at that, we've got normal, what are called tight junctions. I don't know who discovered this, but I loved them when I was learning about this stuff, because what does a tight junction do? It keeps the junction tight. They named it like for what it does. I'm just like, they didn't name it based on their name or anything like that. They just, here's what it does, here's what I'm naming it. And if you look at it, these tight junctions keep the cells. I think about a game of Red Rover. You're linking arms together, and you're not letting anyone through, right? You're only letting the people that you want through, which are the nutrients and the things that we want in. And the pathogens, these harmful effects, stay out. But if you go and look over here at leaky gut, because of the inflammation, you'll notice those abnormally red cells, right? Those are swelling, those are changing. Their tissue type are actually configuring into a different shape. And now these tight junctions start to fail. So it allows bigger particles through. So a lot of harmful things now can enter the bloodstream, and now your immune system has to fight it off. If you keep this up long enough, I'm going to give you my quick and simple talk on allergies and food sensitivities and autoimmune conditions. This is leaky gut. This is dysbiosis. And then once again, it starts with this. People can eat McDonald's once and survive, right? It's when you do it routinely and habitually that now you start to change your landscape for you, and you start to change the microbiota in your gut, and your individual cells no longer look like who they used to be, right? So leaky gut happens. This is where those junctions fail. It allows spacing to open up, so now particles can come through. Now your immune system has to step up its game, right? So now it's working on overload, because now it's got to defend the borders. And now all of a sudden you notice, wow, whenever I have peanut butter, I get a reaction. It's like my immune system doesn't like this. Well, it probably doesn't. If you had this guy repetitively trying to escape into the bloodstream from the GI tract, you wouldn't like it either. So once again, food intolerances of almost what I would call minor allergies, you're noticing, you're like, whenever I have this, I end up having these said symptoms. That's your body's warning sign saying, stop what you're doing and fix your gut health, or it's going to get worse. When it gets worse, now we're talking full-blown allergy, meaning that when this particle shows up, you have specific antibodies, specifically IgE antibodies, that now find this every chance they get and elicit a massive immune response. This means that this has been going on long enough or happened severe enough that you have a permanent allergy to it. And this is where, once again, we keep doing this long enough and we still aren't paying attention to the warning signs saying, stop what you're doing, help restore your gut health, allow your body to heal, or it will move worse. And the next one is autoimmune. And this is where, because your immune system is so active and it's always at this border and it's fighting and fighting and fighting, and it's looking for these cells that don't look like you. And when your cells have been damaged long enough or hard enough that all of a sudden now it doesn't even look like you to begin with, it starts targeting your cells. And now that's what's, once again, it's why it's called an autoimmune response, meaning it's attacking itself. And so that's where, once again, this is where America is heading. We are seeing autoimmune conditions just continue to rise and rise and rise. And once again, the principal issue is we're not interested in finding the cause. We are only worried about treating the symptoms. We see commercials when I watch anything on TV, you see ask your doctor if this is right for you. They'll name a condition, and here's the thing we have to solve said condition. But where are we talking about what's leading to the increase of autoimmune conditions, right? That's why we do workshops like this, is to help equip you and your families to make the better choices so that you can veer off the path that wide path that leads to destruction and go over here in a different direction so that you can do the smarter choice, right? You can make the better, healthier choices for you and your family. And that continues. That can be a legacy of health for you, is that now our family lives a different way. We are not going to keep ingesting the high fructose corn syrup. We're not going to keep spraying our vegetables and eating whatever those chemicals are on there, ruining our gut health. We're going to make the smart choice. And once again, this is where I want you, some of you guys, just take a picture of this, right? This is leaky gut. It leads to allergies and autoimmune conditions. Leaky gut is not the cause, though. The cause is often our lifestyle, environmental factors, and what are we doing? And so this is where it starts to create this hopelessness feeling. So if we really get down to it, a lot of people ask this question: is it possible to heal? I got to tell you guys, it's really painful when I have to meet with people who have autoimmune conditions, and it sounds rough. It's just very, very like you get a lot of hopelessness feeling. And I am certainly not the massive expert in, like, let's take Crohn's disease, for example, or Hashimoto's. I'm not your expert. I didn't go to school for that. I don't know everything there is to know about a thyroid gland or digestive tract that helps you reverse that condition or manage that condition, or what medications can help. What do you want to avoid? I'm not equipped for that, guys, and that's not my job. My job as a chiropractor is, how do I take this person who has developed an autoimmune condition, and how do I equip them to be the highest functioning, highest healing ability person I has in front of me. And this is where the lie that is being told is that all of a sudden I can't heal. I'm broken and I need a medical intervention, and that's my only savior. And that is a lie. And this, once again, this is what sets me off, is that this question, is it possible to heal, is not asked. It's just assumed no, and you have to rely on these interventions. Once again, I still say thank you. Thank you for the advancements in science and medications and surgeries if we need them, but that is last resort. I still need to get to the cause of the problem. I still need to focus on this myself. And so that's where we've got to start sharing. We've got to start getting to the real root of the cause here. And it comes with our definition of health. So if you really focus on this, and once again, I'm gonna break this down real simply. If you start thinking about vitality, or wellness is another name for it, but wellness is so dysfunctional in terms of its definition that I like to use the word vitality. This is where we've got to start viewing ourselves as, are we working optimally? Are we in 100% vitality or near as possible? or are we losing the fight and we're building dysfunction that leads to disease? So these are, once again, just some simple questions. When you're not feeling so great, or let's say you have no active symptoms, right? But you notice that my lifestyle is very inconsistent, and every once in a while I do have something going on. Health is not a priority, but once again, it's just kind of developing a philosophy. That's where I'd like to get a lot of you guys too, because some of you guys are on multiple medications, your quality of life has gone down, and this is where your focus is really just, how do I manage this disease that has grasped and taken over my life? And once again, are we treating you, or are we treating the disease? Let medicine and let medical guys focus on the disease. How about we focus on you for a second? How do we start you moving not towards the 0% vitality, but towards the 100% vitality? Because once again, see where yourself at. I mean, kind of give yourself a little score here. Where are you at? And then what is your next step to move you closer to a vitalistic, holistic mindset? Once again, we're not here to replace your medical guys. We're here to say, what if you never had to take an ambulance ride? What if you never had to need a medication the rest of your life, or need a surgery the rest of your life? Would that interest you? And most people are like, well, absolutely. But they've been told, well, it's impossible for me, because they didn't ask this question. Is it possible to heal? A question that I like to encourage my patients to ask their doctors who prescribe them medications is, let's say you get prescribed something, ask the question of, hey, when this crisis moment is over, what are the steps needed to remove it? Or hey, I'm happy to take this during this little time of my life, but what is the exit strategy for this in my life? And once again, that's just a responsible thing to do, as well as, are we really getting to the cause of the problem? So once again, where are the 5 essentials in this? Like, where do mindset and exercise, and I think everyone understands gut health, food is involved, but we're going to talk about all these things, and chiropractic, on what it does in your life. And this is where, once again, when you own your health, you own your life, and take responsibility for your thoughts. When you choose to eat foods that are life-giving, that add to your body, and this is where, once again, it's not to interfere with it, it's to help function, help move better. When you focus on fitness and moving your body and oxygenating your tissues, building lean muscle and sweating and breathing hard, which detoxes your body, this is where you're living in a better state of vitalism, of health and wellness. And this is where my snapshot of health, when you get to the definition of health, it is the first 4 letters, HEAL. How well am I healing? Because the 3-step process, once again, this is where anything, like, to heal and recover, which I think is important. It's not just the healing, it's the recover from it. Identify the cause or causes, address the interferences, and restore vitality, right? Many people never do step 1, identify the cause. They just keep doing the same stuff. So they keep doing the same things that are creating the need for a healing response in the first place. And then they may or may not address the interferences. And this is where everyone wants to restore vitality step. We're never focusing on how our body is equipped to heal itself. We're never asking the question of, what am I doing? What can I help to do that? And this is where, once again, it's not just a philosophy, but it's an application. Like, this is a lifestyle decision. This is a mentality for yourself. You can't turn it on Monday through Friday and then turn it off on the weekends. It's ask the body, ask yourself, like, why is my body doing this? And how can I aid its healing response? Right? Moving towards 100% vitality, not just symptom focused. All right. So this is where, once again, causes of poor gut health. I mean, we're going to talk about the very obvious one, the elephant in the room, poor nutrition. All right. And this is where, once again, 2/3 of Americans do not eat fruits and vegetables at least twice a day. 82% of people do not want to give up the foods they like. I think this sounds crazy, right? So people presented with, you have disease, things are getting bad, you need to change this out of your diet. When that conversation even happens, if it happens, then 82% of people are saying, no, I'd rather eat the food. I love that food. I mean, like, my body, I don't care about, but like come on, that food, that's a dysfunction. That's a problem. Look at yourself in the mirror and say, you need to change, right? That is a problem. You cannot be addicted to this stuff to that extent. I mean, that stat shocked me. A lot of people say they don't have 62% say they don't have time to track their diet. Preparing meals, 60% say they like to prepare meals in 15 minutes, meaning that it's got to be quick or I'm not doing it. So once again, we've gotten this Western diet, which is basically described as cheap, on the go, and it better hit the taste buds just right. because otherwise we're not eating it. And that has got to change, right? So top 5 foods to avoid, once again, these are the simple sugars. So sugar and artificial sweeteners, right? We got the gluten, the fake wheat, the I call it fake wheat because it's no longer what it was designed. The topic ancient grains is actually a description of what wheat used to be, not what it has been transformed into. Quality meats and omega-3 you want to eat those quality meats. You want to avoid the conventional meats because of all the hormones and things in them. And then the fatty acids and alcohol. Those are the list here. So once again, getting into the sugar and artificial sweeteners. These are things like sucralose, aspartame, or for those that don't know what that is, aspartame, and then saccharin. Those are things that will set off inflammation in your gut. Those simple sugars and fake sugars do not help. So once again, their focus is on calories, but they've lost the idea of gut function and inflammation in your body. So this is where, once again, processed and high sugar foods. So these include frozen dinners, granola bars, cereals, hot dogs, desserts. You've got to avoid the ingredient high fructose corn syrup, maltose, trans fats, dextrose, hydrogenated oil, which I want you to think of. Trans fat equals hydrogenated oil. When you see hydrogenated oil, no one puts trans fat on their ingredient list anymore because people know that's bad. So they put hydrogenated or its cousin, partially hydrogenated oil, and to fooling you and tricking you. And these lead to gut dysfunction, gut dysbiosis. And once again, this is just another article from 2014 saying artificial sweeteners induce glucose intolerance by altering the gut microbiome, meaning it's actually creating a diabetes-like state in your gut because of its harmful effect on the microbiota. Gluten is a combination of proteins found in many grains. I mean, this is where gluten has, man, if you haven't heard of gluten before, you've been hiding under a rock. But this is where, once again, it's found in grains like wheat and rye and barley. People are consuming gluten daily. Gluten is an exceptionally small protein. It likes to fit in those gap junctions. And this is where, once again, its purpose, the type of protein that it is, its purpose oftentimes in nature is to induce gut problems because the plant isn't ready to reproduce yet. So when a strawberry is green, they have a protein that is gluten-like. It's not gluten, but it's the same type of protein that if an animal were to eat a green strawberry, it actually has a moment of nausea, and it's not healthy. It's like, this is bitter, it tastes horrible, and I'm gonna spit it out, and I'm never ever eating a green strawberry again. I can tell you that. That's the plant's job. It's chemically designed to work with its job. And think about plants. What is their main job? It's to convert CO2 into oxygen and photosynthesize, getting energy, and to reproduce. So how does it reproduce? It makes seeds. So how does a strawberry plant reproduce? Well, all its seeds are on the fruit, and those seeds aren't ready to actually take root and go through the digestive tract of these birds and animals and you. And then when you go somewhere else and take your little number 2, now you got new strawberry fields growing, right? Or whenever they deposit the rest of the fruit, it's going to end up somewhere and new plants can grow. When the strawberry fruit turns red, that's available, it's ready. Now, the thing is, I just find it interesting that, like, once again, this is how God intended it to be, right? So green strawberries taste nasty. Red strawberries, homegrown strawberries, taste amazing. Why do homegrown ones taste better than the conventional store-bought ones? And this is look it up. When they pick that strawberry, usually it is green. And then they either allow it time or spray it with hormones to turn it red. But what did they do about the protein, the gluten-like protein in that strawberry? They never altered it once. And so why does a homegrown strawberry taste better? Because God designed it that way, because it's actually working with the strawberry plant and with nature, as opposed to doing it by science and saying, oh, we can turn a strawberry red. No one's questioning that. But why does it taste better? Because this is the way it's supposed to be, right? So once again, it's just when you're eating that gluten, the reality is we were just not meant to eat gluten in the consumption and the levels that we are today. It, in the levels that we're eating it, leads to that hyperpermeability, that leaky gut syndrome, which leads to more dysfunction and disease. So once again, these are your breads, these are your cereals, these are your simple carbs, everything in that picture has gluten in it. And you, once again, you want to limit this, if not eliminate it completely. All right. And based on your health goals, once again, that's how you know what you need to do. If you need advanced healing or advanced health goals, guess what? Cut this one out completely. Right? Conventional meats. You guys have heard me, speak on this a lot. But once again, this is your non-organic. This is your grain-fed cattle, the grain-fed meats. These are your farm-raised fish. These are very damaging to your gut bacteria. It's damaging, and it ties with this one. Almost all of the research poured into this stuff, like why is grain-fed cattle, red beef, worse for you than grass-fed beef? And it has to do with the altered nature of these fats. So when you look at grass-fed beef, your omega-6 to omega-3 ratio is approximately 4-1. When you look at a grain-fed beef, the corn, the barley, the gluten, right? It changes their fat concentration to be a 20-1 ratio. You have way too many omega-6s in there, which promotes inflammation. So once again, the same is true when you look at these salmon that are put in these tiny, tiny fisheries. They're basically designed to make a fish swim in circles and just eat whenever it's time to eat and poop wherever, all over each other. And once again, we expect these fish not to be more diseased or to be healthier than you. Like, whereas the other salmon has to go and swim for its life oftentimes and has to go and once again, swim upriver using its muscles, and I'll be darned, that fish is healthier for you. And wild caught salmon have a ratio of about 2-1, those omega-6s to omega-3s. So once again, it's don't save $1 or $2 and sacrifice your health. That's the biggest thing I can tell you. It takes more than that, right? It takes more than that to move there. So damaged or altered fats. This is your refined oil. Processed foods contain this. Margarine is one chemical process away from plastic. Once again, these are the things that you want to avoid. So once again, these are canola oils, hydrogenated oil, trans fats are essentially what they are. But once again, look at the picture, right? Like your sodas, your fried foods. Once again, just these are the altered, the not food by God, but food by science, right? Alcohol, especially the high carb, high sugar drinks and strong liquor. Once again, studies have linked alcohol to consumption to gut health issues and dysbiosis. Now, I will say this, the one little caveat here is a lot of people ask, what about red wine? Red wine, the resveratrol, red wine, it's got the, once again, the polyphenols. And this is where, once again, these are plant compounds, which are actually antioxidants. And so, yes, like if you're going to drink, this is where, given the opportunity, like have red wine. Like I would encourage red wine. And if you can, do organic, because that is just much better for you. The amount of pesticides and herbicides sprayed on grapes is exceptionally high. So once again, just like you would want to buy an organic strawberry, consider looking at organic wines instead as well, just because of the gut concentration. So once again, the gut health diet, like let's start talking about building this thing back up. And this is where we want to eat more foods that are omega-3 fatty acids. We want to eat these healthy fats. We want to get probiotics. We want to get prebiotics, and then the raw foods, because that's just in its best form. So when you look at the core plan, the core foundation, like this is where, once again, whether it's the core plan, advanced plan, and Maxliving, the two plans we talk about and we offer, but this is where it's still the main principles for all of them, for both of them, is eat food by God, avoid food by man or food by science. Skip the sugar and the alternatives and count toxicants, right? Not calories. So many people look at the calorie content and they never flip it around to see the ingredient list. So, right, when we're doing the core plan, it's just like, guys, it's many healthy fats. It's full fat dairy, naturally raised animal proteins. Think about what that animal was designed to eat, and did that animal eat it? Because if not, then its concentration of nutrients are going to be wrong, right? Whole grains and ancient grains, there it is again. Variety of fruits and vegetables, emphasis on variety. Americans are stuck in their habits, and we're all creatures of habit. So once again, encourage variety in your choices there. And then plant-based carbohydrates. So when it's in top 5 to eat routinely, the one on the far left right there, this is, once again, this is a protein powder. So once again, we've got plant protein, whey protein, and then we've got our bone broth protein, which is really ideal for people who have are really competing at a high level and really want to absorb a lot more protein than go with the bone broth protein. A lot of people love the whey protein, but it's got to be grass-fed. Has to be grass-fed, right? And then this is where, once again, plant protein is another, once again, a way to get a lot of phytonutrients. And then a lot of people who are living that vegan, choosing the vegan or vegetarian lifestyle, then guess what? This one fits for you. Green cruciferous veggies, gotta eat a lot more of those, and variety matters, right? Nuts, like variety of nuts as well. Don't just eat almonds. One of my doctor friends up in Canada, he gave himself an almond allergy because he was having almond milk, almond butter, almonds, almond meal, almond paste, almond flour, and he just gave himself a sensitivity to almonds. Once again, variety matters, right? And once again, these anything Indian berry, so strawberries, blueberries, raspberries, blackberries, once again, powerful antioxidants. And then once again, your avocados are a fantastic healthy fat for you. So once again, these are all great things to incorporate and increase. The advanced plan, and this is where once again, same principles as the core plan. Who is the advanced plan for? This is a person that wants advanced results. Okay, hence the way it's called advanced plan, or sometimes called the healing diet. If you're that person that once again wants to make big cognitive changes and really improve your digestion and how your body's metabolizing cholesterol and triglycerides and blood sugar, insulin. And if you're that person that has chronic fatigue syndrome or fibromyalgia or immune system dysfunction, this is it. Okay, in fact, a lot of people are looking for the magic cure, the magic bullet, but this is the reality: is they need to start here. They need to start fixing what's going into their body, because once again, the principal goal of the digestive tract is to absorb vital nutrients, right? So once again, the main difference between the advanced plan and the core plan is it is no grains, nothing that turns into sugar. So only low sugar fruits and berries, meaning if you're going to eat an apple, it can only be a Granny Smith apple, and it should be organic, right? Granny Smith apples are very, very sharp in taste, and they have a very, very like sour almost taste to them. It's because their concentration of sugars is different, and it doesn't spike your blood sugar. But fruits such as a banana will absolutely spike your blood sugar. Grapes will spike your blood sugar. Strawberries will not. So once again, anything in berry. But the principle here is it is meant to be a healthy fat plan. Like, it is principle by eating healthy fats first and avoiding things that turn to sugar, right? Because that's what's going to set you off. If this is new to you, or you're just like, oh boy, goodness, he just covered this in about like 30 seconds, and now I feel lost, then this is where you need to get into your Align Your Health book. Chapter 4 talks about nutrition. It walks you through this stuff. And the best part of all, in the back of the book, there are recipes that coordinate to which plan is right for you. So once again, this is a writer downer. If this is an area you need to focus on, then either pull the Align Your Health book out, or if you're a guest or don't have the Align Your Health book, get that book and that resource so you can start taking back control of your health, right? So once again, get in there, go to your favorite chapter, read it a couple times, and then start plugging away the resources in the back and the recipes in the back. When those get old, go to our website, peacockfamilychiropractic.com, and you're going to find, for patients, there's recipes out there. And we enjoy actually, especially in the magazine, you'll notice that there is a new recipe there. And once again, we've made that for the team today. And it was just wonderful to try and eat. And they were gone by the end of team meeting. But once again, a very, very healthy option that is dairy-free and sugar-free and was advanced plan friendly. So once again, just really simple stuff, but there was intention behind it, right? So moving on. So this is where, once again, getting into the next one, the 3 R's to healing the gut. So we talked about what's causing this problems. We talked about how the American lifestyle is doing it. Now we got to talk about healing it. So first thing we got to do is we got to remove the harmful critters that have taken over. When you think of this, and let's remove the bad bacteria, people immediately think of antibiotics. And it's like, well, let's hang on, don't do that. But during the removal portion of gut health, this is once again removing bad bacteria, yeast, parasites, and this can be like ideally done. If you want to know what you got to do some advanced testing, GI-FX tests. I've seen them. I personally don't have a favorite, but once again, if you suspect that you've got parasite overload or things like this, it's like there are advanced testing out there, and it gives you an idea of what to do. And once again, they've got protocols on how to eliminate that species, right? But this is where, once again, we got to, I just want to talk about removing the stuff from causing over and over again, the insult that you just keep focusing on. So this remove step I want you to think of is removing the things that I'm doing on a daily basis to cause my gut dysfunction, right? And this is where you just, like I said, think of it as like my body's trying to heal, but I keep adding fuel to the fire. So stop adding fuel to that fire and then let the body heal. Then we talk about the repairing effect. So this is where, once again, getting in there and help allow the body to heal with time, but also getting it the essential nutrients to do so. One of our fun ones that we didn't used to have, but when it comes to supplements, and this is where for me, I highly recommend this stuff. But we have our gut renew powder, and so this is where once again I could not even begin to tell you. So I'm going to leave this up for just a second. This licorice, slippery elm, and other nutrients, and like once again, other nutrients, like this is where I'm not going to go find that and take that on a daily basis. So this is where once again, what does a supplement mean for me, and like in a broad scope of the word is like, look, I mean, when I take a supplement, right? So when I take gut renew, for example, this is where I take this because I need to get the things that are found in nature that help allow my gut to heal better. So yes, I'm focused on what's coming in, and I'm allowing my body to heal, but this is the advanced step. I don't take this every day or every month of the year. But the point is, there needs to be step times where I'm saying, you know what, I'm going to treat my gut better, and I'm also going to help heal my gut. And so once again, I love the name Gut Renew Powder, but it's basically using what's found in nature to help allow the gut to heal better. Once again, restore those tight junctions, help the body focus and heal better. So once again, this might be a next step for you if this is where gut health is in your focus, and that's why you're here today, focusing on this call and this workshop. It's like, you know what, I need to get that supplement. So once again, reference this if you're online. Reference this, get into the office and get that, so that way my team can help you and get you moving in the right direction. The other one that is helping GI motility and helping get things move is fiber. So once again, we have this is in your green cruciferous veggies. So everything in that picture there, once again, it's found in nature. So I would encourage you guys to do this, what's found in nature first. And then when you realize that, if you're like me, like it's some of these things, it's like, boy, I don't eat this every meal, or I struggle to get some of these items because of availability in my area. Then that's exactly why we have supplements, to help supplement your better lifestyle anyway. But fiber is crucial for moving things through and really helping eliminate waste from the body. Get the right type of fiber though. If you were to go look at Captain Crunch, I bet it says high fiber, good source of fiber on there from the American Heart Association. Biggest sellouts there are. American Heart Association keeps giving the wrong information. And then you look at what does it take to get approval on the American Heart Association? It's basically give them money and have a low fat concentration, and that's the you're in. And the reality is that is not good fiber. Don't eat cereal expecting to have a better fiber intake. Fruits and veggies, that's where you want to go. That's where you want to receive the quality fiber. We already talked about omega-3 fats, but I want to bring this in. Is omega-3s are so beneficial, but they are what, once again, on inflammatory gene expression. So they started to look at specific genes. They were in this study, they were looking at these genes that get turned on or off based on these inflammatory particles. When they noticed that all of a sudden the omega-6s went up, that ratio was so much higher than the omega-3s, that all of a sudden they started seeing more inflammation. Whereas when they reversed it, when they started doing higher omega-3s and more quality fats like we talk about, inflammation and what are called cytokines, which are messengers for inflammation, were reduced. And so once again, it's just that's a very, like, once again, this study's been done many times, just many different names, but this is an 2009 study. Once again, showing the science is backed behind this stuff. Like, science is not backing the McDonald's diet or these omega-6s, but they're backing what's found in nature. And then the last one is re-inoculate. And what that means is, like, we've got to add that good bacteria back in. So please do not be that person that is taking prebiotics, probiotics, and an antibiotic at the same time. You are just wasting your money. If you're taking an antibiotic, you're just killing off the good ones that you're taking. So please don't do that. You instead want to immediately follow it with probiotics and prebiotics. Probiotics are those good bacteria we talked about. They're also in foods like kimchi, sauerkraut, plain organic yogurt contains good bacteria as well. And they're, once again, it's allowing that gut to be filled with, and this is key, a diverse microbiome, a microbiota, right? Where is this in science? Once again, application of probiotics in type 2 diabetes. So they gave people in type 2 diabetics probiotics and followed them over a long period of time. They saw a difference in their glycemic control, meaning their ability to control blood sugar, their fat profile, lipid profile, inflammation, and oxidative stress. So once again, don't just manage the diabetes. Why not take some probiotics and then also step it up a notch, prebiotics, This is a specific type of fiber that is actually food for the probiotics and allows them to grow and populate. I want you to think of yourself as this is allowing them to land and start to colonize and grow. Otherwise, it's just moving right through like a slip and slide. Once again, prebiotics are key for allowing your normal microbiome to grow. Now, some of you guys want the advanced stuff. If you want the advanced I hate to call it a bundle, but the gut health bundle, here it is. So you've got your, once again, Pure Path fiber. You've got your 50 billion of diverse probiotics. So this is that, once again, re-inoculate stage. If you've never taken probiotics and before, that's another great step, is to take those two, right? Get the fiber and the probiotics, and now you're set with your prebiotic and probiotic. Gut Renew powder is, once again, talk about gut healing, helping, given what nature has given you, to do that. And then digestive enzymes is once again another one that a lot of people struggle with digesting food, and this is designed for them. I personally would not recommend this for absolutely everyone. Some of you guys just need to start simple. Like if you guys are like, man, I don't even know what, like everything we covered tonight is rather excessive, then this is where we want to get into, is saying, you know what, maybe I need to start this. I'll buy one of these, so maybe I'll get the probiotics, the 50 billion probiotics, and start to work to rebuild my microbiota. But many people need to start here. And so this is where I've had several patients love this little box here. So if you haven't been around me long enough, you'll notice that I say, you know what, everyone has to be on a multivitamin, a quality multi, including kids, right? So kids have to get the nutrients. If you want to get those nutrients, you've got to take a multi today, right? So men's and women's multi, and this is where another one that people talk about today is like, you know what, if you want heart health, if you want to make sure you're getting that fat profile, get your optimal omega, all right? And then vitamin D, right? So vitamin D3, that's very important for your immune system, your bone health, breast health, gut health, so important there. And then if you're familiar with what's going on in the world, like with the health world, everyone's talking about magnesium. And you got to have the bioavailable form of magnesium, and what's gentle on the stomach. Otherwise, it's going to be a GI cleanse for you. But once again, it's just essential for mineral, protein synthesis, muscle, and nerve function. So magnesium is huge for protein and specifically muscles and nerve functions. And so this is where, once again, you got to get that. So why my patients were excited is because before you know it, they had 4, 5, 6 bottles sitting on their counter space, taking it up. And so this box is individually packaged for a month, that basically it gives you all of this stuff in a little packet. So you can take that on the go, have it with your meal, and feel like you're getting your supplements for the day without lugging all these bottles around. So once again, if you're not on a multivitamin, so hear me for a second. If you don't take a current multivitamin or vitamin D, or getting your optimal omega, this is a good starting point for you. This is a good next step for you. Before you start adding everything into your cart, I like to do what are very smart goals, what are specific and measurable and attainable, realistic and timely. What can I do to take a step moving in the right direction? And this is it. All right. So once again, this is where you want to start. This is where you want to be. Is I want to make sure I start with this essential kit before I move on to some of the advanced stuff that we talked about. Once again, I'm going to give very meaningful steps for you guys so you can make sure that you're moving with confidence in the right direction. Okay. And so this is where I'm going to cover these next few things really simply, just in the interest of time. And so once again, if you got your supplement of choice, you know what you need to do next on that front. There you go. And if you need to, my team is here to help. I'm here to help you. Ask what's right for you. I love answering those questions. What is your next step? So once again, in short, guys, exercise does help improve digestion. Not only does it help manage your stress levels, which can be a big inflammatory marker, but it helps motility of the GI tract. Specifically, we talk about short duration, high intensity exercise. This gets a bad rap because I think people think immediately of CrossFit and damaging the body, and not that all CrossFit's bad, but a common theme that I've noticed with patients is that some CrossFit gyms are all about the number as opposed to the quality of the reps. So instead, they focus on the quantity instead of the quality of the rep. I'm going to tell you, you can do about any exercise and fit it into this HIIT training, this high intensity, short duration type of exercise. And so this is where, once again, Max T3, we've already got it for you. Look on our website. You can download it's workouts online, or for those that really want a DVD, we still have some of those. But the point is a 12-minute workout. You can do a simple exercise of just air punches and air squats, like the picture right here, And you can do that and get your heart rate up and help your GI motility at the same time. So once again, it's just, we're designed to move. This is going to help blood flow, help get those joints moving, and specifically help target the GI tract to get blood flow there, as well as help GI motility. The last thing we got to talk about is your toxins. And this is where, once again, I want you to focus on glyphosate, which is Roundup, right? BPAs and heavy metals, because these are, once again, herbicides like glyphosate have been, once again, a negatively affect gut bacteria and change it to dysbiosis. BPA and many plastics have been shown to kill and destroy your good microbiota, your good probiotics, leading to inflammation and gut issues. And heavy metals have been shown, especially when you think about like lead, aluminum are exposed to these metals, lead, arsenic through soil and water. And once again, those disrupt and even destroy those good bacteria. So once again, these are things that we want to remove. No one goes around drinking Roundup. I understand that, but did they spray it on your veggies, on your fruit? That's what you got to wonder. Your containers that you're storing things in, does it contain BPA? And what am I putting lead and arsenic? Like, where are these things found at? Like, you got to research these things and know where lead and arsenic being found in. Ironically, wines, they talked about wine a few years back, and they noticed that a lot of common brands of wine had high levels of arsenic. And so it's something that you'd never pick up a bottle of wine and go, oh, I see the arsenic floating around. And like, it's not what you would do. Instead, it's like, you need go Google that list. Google like arsenic in wines, and it'll give you a list of the wines they found arsenic in. And so once again, it's not because they're putting it there intentionally. It's because their growing habits and what they sprayed their fields with is now making it into you. So once again, be careful, be an informed shopper, and not just letting shopping happen to you, right? And so then once again, we got to talk about detoxing the gut, and this is where, if you have a sick, inflamed gut, you'll experience anything from wrinkled skin to weight gain to autoimmune disorders to depression. And this is, once again, a medical doctor, Dr. Kellyanne Petrucci. And once again, she talks about this stuff because it's like, you got to detox your gut, allow it to heal, and move it in the right order. So this is where, once again, for some of you guys that have never detoxed or done a detox system, I got to say first, before you buy my detox system, before you start healing your gut that way, what are you feeding it first? I still think the first step for you guys is to stop adding fire first. So get on the advanced plan. That needs to be your first goal. When you're on the advanced plan, you've been doing that and you feel like you're in a rhythm there, now start focusing on detoxing. And you can do the detox system, which not only helps move things, but it restores. So it grabs toxins, it binds it, kicks out in the bloodstream. And then the second part, the body detox, grabs it and gets it out of the body. So the activated charcoal does that. Now, this is where, in short, the other thing that I love focusing on when it comes to detoxing is this simple thing right here. Is I want you to think of, for each molecule of pesticide I consume, for every chemical I'm exposed to, for every molecule of those, I have to spend one molecule of glutathione, which is the master antioxidant, and it's used and lost. So once again, there's a patient, and years ago, she was confronted with 9 different cancers at once, and she wanted to get to the cause of it. She ended up beating her 9 different cancers, but it took a long road to get there. And one of the things that her advanced testing did is they looked and measured her glutathione levels, and they were 0. They were depleted. Her master antioxidant had been being used for so long, and it was just underlying, like nothing signaled that she was missing it. But this is where, once again, her body was no longer able to keep up with the chemical exposure and the things that were damaging her body and her immune system. That when it was gone, and now she couldn't fight it anymore. So she had to supplement heavily with this stuff. And this is where she got to advanced healing, advanced steps. And this is where she had many different providers. We were providing the chiropractic approach for her so the chiropractic care, so that she could be the best functioning individual she possibly could, and best, highest level of healing. But once again, she went and got extra help to make sure she met those health goals. And quite an amazing story. And just, I mean, like, to be honest, like, it was all things from food to exercise to mindset. I got to brag about this patient for a second, and I don't want to share her name because I don't have every right to just divulge every information. But this is where she said the most impactful thing to battling her cancer was not the food she ate or the detoxing protocol she went through. It was actually the the hour she would spend in de-stressing every day. She had a painting and she would look at that and she would focus on it, and that would center her mind so that she could prepare to battle everything that day. And it was just like, so everything else is going on, the stresses and bad tests and good tests, and everything can throw your body into disarray. But she was so focused on getting better with the mindset. And I just think, once again, what an amazing thing to focus on. What was simply that. So we're going to jump ahead here. So once again, getting in here into gut brain connection. This is why, once again, the mindset is so key for so many individuals. That the way you think, your mindset has a power influence over what you stress about and how you respond to stress. As we just learned, this is where, once again, stress hinders digestion. But this is where is your mindset where you need to be. Once again, the gastrointestinal tract, the GI tract, is so sensitive to emotion, anger, anxiety, sadness, elation. But this can trigger symptoms in the gut. And so this is where our GI tract often is very similar. If you remember Pavlov's dog, they train the dog to salivate whenever it heard a bell, and they would feed the food, and then they conditioned him to think every time he heard the bell, the dog's going to get food. Well, stress is the exact same thing. And so this is where, relating to my story with irritable bowel syndrome, like that's what was happening, is stress would come, whether it was the stress of food, the stress of life, or just the chemical stress. And all of a sudden, here we go again. I got conditioned to that. And once again, it took going to that chiropractor, identifying the cause and removing it and allowing my body to heal. Now all the extra stuff I was doing paid off. So once again, when it comes to this stuff, it's not about the stressor, but how you respond. We all have stressors in our life, but are we responding well? So this is a simple thing. Control what you can. I mean, this is where, once again, turn off the stressors, social media, news. But if the weather stresses you out, I have yet to meet a person that can control the weather. It's like, don't try to control that. Turn it over, right? Turn it over to God and worry about the other stuff. I can control social media. I control the news. Carve out you time. So this is, once again, schedule time for yourself. What fills you up? If exercise fills you up, man, block that in there. Schedule time for yourself. If you don't get it on your schedule, it's not going to happen on a regular basis, and stress will take over you, right? And then make it habitual. Ultimately, your habits create your habitat. Make it routine. So if you want this better state of healing, and getting back to this definition of health, if you want to move towards vitality, then you got to start creating these habits right now. So you talk, once again, I was focusing a lot today on the content of how I can help you, equip you, and out of everyone and their mom and their friends and their family that has a gut health issues. I mean, there are so many specific cases. I'm not going to be connecting each and every one of you to your tailored, specific, here's what you do and here's how you take it. So I hope you picked up things, and these are steps that you can take that move you in the right direction. On the flip side, this is where you got to also take care of the very most important system in the body. And so this is where, once again, when I talk about how to get, once again, to a better state of vitalism, to get better state of health and healing, you can't do that without taking care of the best and most important system. And once again, it's more important than exercise. It's more important than nutrition. Maintaining a healthy, balanced central nervous system and spine is the most crucial to one's health and well-being. What's the point of pouring in all the best food in the world if you're, once again, your nerves going to your GI tract are inflamed and shut off? And that's what I found out at 16, is that was my missing step. Is I was eating better foods, I was exercising a ton, I was really trying to just treat my GI tract, and I came up with no better solution than just taking Imodium. And so this is where, once again, it gets down to it, that, once again, the nerves going to my lower GI tract, found in my low back, were the cause of my problem. So once again, structure affects function. Why does a chiropractor look at the spine? It's because structure affects function. And once again, if the spine is out of alignment, it is damaging those nerves. Once again, it's like, do I feel this at all times? No. This is where, once again, our body oftentimes has warning signs, but this is where, if you look at it, wear and tear, arthritis, and if you look at the picture on the right, there is no curve in that neck, and this is where damaging pressure happens, whether you feel it or not. So this, like, a question I like to ask people when they look at x-rays in their office is, you know what, when you look at your x-rays, if you did nothing about this and left it there for a year or 5 years or a decade, what would you expect to happen? And most people tell me the same thing. They expect it to get worse, right? Because they know the same factors that are leading to the degeneration are still there. And then the next most important question is, what would that do to the nerves underneath? And they would say, well, that would actually stress them more. That would cause more dysfunction, more damage on them. And that's where, once again, when we look as a chiropractor, we're looking for interference in the nervous system. We are looking for anywhere that structure moved out of alignment, creating dysfunction, and now is leading to disease. So when you look at these warning signs are check engine lights saying, hey, fix the cause of the problem or it will get worse, right? Just covering up acid reflux does not solve what's going on. But could your acid reflux be a result of your upper thoracic spine that has subluxation present? You have misalignment there. It's stressing the very nerve that's designed to control the stomach. Once again, is it possible? I don't know. I'm not here to treat any one of these diseases. That's not my job as a chiropractor. My job is, like I said, to help you make sure that you're in the best possible structure state so I can make sure you're properly aligned so that there's no stress on those nerves. If you can get to the cause and allow these things, and once again, this is a fun, powerful question I like to ask people, but if you could get to the cause of your problem and treat it without drugs and surgery, would that be important to you? And a lot of people are like, they don't even give themselves hope for that. But when you think about it, whether it's headaches or migraines or acid reflux or dizziness, sciatica, blood pressure, and all of a sudden we start working on the body and the structure, and all of a sudden the head starts shifting back, the shoulders start to level, the hips start pointing straight and are level, your body functions at a higher level and it functions better. And then next thing you know, the body's actually able to heal better, not because my hands touched you, but because you are actually functioning at a higher level than when you walked in my office. And that moment where I get to see people and their eyes light up and they realize that not only are they better, but they're better because they're at a higher state of functioning and healing. I love this stuff. I mean, my team loves it. We celebrate it every single week. We have a specific moment in our team meetings where we talk about celebrations and people that have their health back in their control. And once again, a lot of people have had health done to them, but did anyone walk them through the causes and how they can get back in control of their health? And so once again, this is my goal for every single family in our office, is to get connected to that idea of I control my health destiny. My choices do matter, and I'm going to learn how to control my posture, my structure, because it influences my function, and my function influences how I heal. And so I'm going to end with this, and this is where once again, I'm not here to give you health insurance advice, but my wife and I are part of this Christian Health Shares Ministries, and they like to send these magazines out talking about success stories. And so my wife Kelsey actually noted this, that there were a lot of back stuff, but this is where once again I'm not going to go over people's names. I just want to go over amounts. So this is where once again there's a gal in Texas who had lower back pain whose bills totaled over $4,000. And once again, they're bragging about they covered that. And I'm sitting there going like, wow, it's a lot more expensive than care in our office to fix. We fix a lot of low back pain, right? We find the cause of it. There's another gal who had back surgery that was almost $46,000. Like once again, did they talk about what caused that? What was necessary there? Herniated disc, $38,000. I have two of those, and those. I mean, like once again, I had to get real serious about the cause of those as well. But I'm sitting here going, I'm looking through this once again, $4,000, $46,000, $38,000, $165,000 for a spinal fusion. It gets rough. My point is, if we could have prevented that for any of those people, if they could have gotten down to their spine and seeing where things are things functioning properly, would that be worth it to them? And I would think the every answer would be yes. But did they get the opportunity to choose that? So if this is once again, if you're a guest on here, or this is the first time you've seen anything we've done, then and you never had your spine checked before, I believe in action steps. I believe, what is your next step? What is that next step for myself? Please do not be that person that says, you know what? I'm just going to eat my way to health, because you will fall short. It's not just about the food you're consuming. It's not just about your thoughts you're having. It's not even about just getting adjusted, right? If I say the same thing, I flip the script around. If someone were to go eat McDonald's out in front of my office, that's 200 yards away from my office, they were to eat McDonald's after every single adjustment, I think my care would be worthless. The reality is you've got to start pouring into yourself, investing in yourself. These 5 essentials are not just little good ideas. They are, you need to work and create habits to change your habitat. We talked about, once again, your lifestyle choices affect your landscape. And so this is what I hope you got out of this. So once again, you might be the person that just needs the action step you need to take is say, you know what, I'm going to reach out to your office and start by seeing how my spine is. And if you're that person, this is what we do. We start with an exam, go through a history intake. I see what's going on in your life. We check your posture, range of motion. We do a surface EMG scan, see where the muscles are at in your spine. And then if we need to, we're going to take an x-ray because it takes all the guesswork out. And this is where, once again, I want to properly evaluate you to know, are you healing and functioning to the best of your ability, right? Where's your structure at? How are you functioning and how are you healing? If you've never done that before, that's a great first step. And so if you refer this talk, and we're going to be doing that live July 12th at our office. But once again, if that's you and you just know you need to get your spine checked, reach out to our office, reference this workshop, and once again, you get 60% off, bringing everything, the exam and x-rays, down to $54. Bring your insurance card, bring any benefits you have. We'll verify those for you, see if we're a network or what the benefit is. But guys, I'm going to tell you flat out, like these guys had coverage too. These guys all had coverage. And I don't know each and every one of those stories, but I do know that's a whole heck of a lot of money. And I'm not sure if that brought them any true health and any true, did they get their health back in control by doing that? So once again, I always tell people, I'm like, guys, health insurance is there to help you, but it's not there to make your health decisions for you. So get real with it and start saying, you know what, this is the moment. I want you guys everyone to take time right now to write down what is the most meaningful step I need to do and prioritize them. So if you need to get in our office and get checked, we are happy to do that for you. And once again, we'll lead you to show you where you're at, whether you're good, whether you have issues, and we report those back to you and find a plan on how to correct those issues. Or better yet, I love maintaining health. Most of our unique patients that visit our office are actually coming in because they've already achieved their health goals and they want to stay there the rest of their life. So they're coming once or twice a month, some weekly, but the point is they're in control of their health and they know how to stay there, right? Some of you guys, this is where your next action step needs to be supplements, and like which supplements were right for me. So once again, some of you guys want to do the full gut health bundle, and you guys want to just go big and like say, you know what, I'm going to make a big first step and I want to make a big mega health change. Wonderful, go for it. My team will get you plugged in. Now, because of some of these items, I do not like keeping a lot of these items on our shelf for fear that they might go bad, and that's very important to me that you get very good product. We are doing order forms for this stuff. So if you want this stuff, we have limited supply. So once again, you can call and act now and move in. But the reality is we will probably have to order a lot of this stuff. So, but the good news is we're going to be able to order it for you and you'll be able to get it in its longest shelf life possible, so you can use it to the best of its ability. So once again, it's just a little different on the YouTube videos here, but once again, call the office. You can order, actually go to peacockfamilychiropractic.com. You can actually order supplements there as well. But once again, we're here to help you and we want to find you the right resources to help you. Some of you guys, once again, like I talked about, need to start with a good quality essential nutrient, getting the multivitamin, the B complex, the omegas, the vitamin D, the magnesium. The magnesium. And once again, this might be a next step for you. All right. So once again, take that next step. What are you going to do today? What are you deciding right now that is going to be the most meaningful step in your journey in health? Guys, Maxliving and all of us people, all of us doctors really, we're not the end destination. Like you coming to my office is not your destination. Health is a journey. Health is a process. And you have to start transforming it into the positive. Back to that wellness spectrum, you got the 0% and the 100%. Where are you at? Where do you want to be? And more importantly, what are you doing to get there? Right. So I hope this once again equipped you with some next steps on what you can do for your gut health, for your health journey, but more specifically, knowledge without action is useless. I mean, scripture says this, that once again, faith without deeds is dead. And this is where, once again, this is where you've got to start changing the paradigm. You got it before you start doing a bunch of things. Are you operating in that health paradigm? Are you working in that vitalistic model? And then how can I take my actions, my deeds, and move them in a proper alignment that works with God's system, as well as the scientific approach that we covered today? So I hope you guys got a lot of detailed information. And this is where you have your next step. reach out to us, stay connected, reach out to us on Facebook, reach out to us on our website, call our office, talk about us in the office. Like, we'd love to help connect you to your next health goals, but use this as a launching platform to get your health back. Be the driver in your own health car, your own health decisions, so that you are owning your health, you're owning your life, and you're making sure that you are taking care of it. So we'll see you back in the office. Have a blessed day, and we will look forward to seeing you soon.